Hi Mira, Lee here. I just wanted to basically commend you for making such great videos. The other night I was just searching around looking for Japan information and stumbled upon you, and it was one of those magical YouTube nights where you start doing stuff at like 11 o'clock at night and then you look out the window and it's 7 o'clock in the morning and the sun's coming up. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with your videos. I learned a lot, which is what I like to see. So yeah, I watched a lot of them, not all of them, but like pretty much probably half to most of your stuff, and there was a lot of good stuff that I liked on there. First of all, I kind of want to go through like why I like Japan. As a little kid, like I was always fascinated with Power Rangers, and then I realized as a little kid that Power Rangers were actually made in Japan. They were a Japanese production, and that was like my first like little glimpse of them. So I'm like 8 years old, and I automatically had this dream to go to Japan and like ride a Harley Davidson across Japan, which I've since figured out that's probably kind of hard to do because I think Japan has strict engine ordinances and stuff on how much fuel and what kind you can burn and all that stuff, which kind of sucks. But still, I would still love to travel to Japan, and I'm actually going to try to do it next summer. So your gaijin tips were really, really helpful for me as well. Also, I'm a psychology major at the college that I attend here in America, in Iowa, America, which is one of our states, kind of like your Providence. And I took a course this year, and we talked a lot about Western versus Eastern mentalities and different problems that Westerners versus Easterners may have. And it all kind of centers around what I call, or what, not what I call, but what psychologists have termed interdependence or independence. And in the West, as you know, we are very independent. So we have a lot of stuff. We basically have the mentality that we are us as an individual, and that is the most important thing. And we're American second, or we're Canadian second, or we're Mexican second. You know what I mean? But when you travel to the East, not just in Japan, there's interdependence. So everybody depends on each other, and it's a very more tight knit community. More, and you hit on that a lot in your videos, and that's what I was thinking of. And this whole conflict, not really a conflict, but difference between independence and interdependence was really seen in two of your videos for me. First one, in the one of your latest ones about the person who is suffering from depression as a result of his or her job, and just the workload that they have been taking on, and that is a very common occurrence because the Japanese tend, and other Eastern cultures tend to work very hard. So, but yeah, I saw that, and that intrigued my mind, because I saw my point in there. But I also, I hope that guy or girl is okay, and I hope he pulls through because you seem kind of concerned about it and all that kind of stuff. And then the other video that really kind of showcases for me was the one where you talked about your work as a. I wrote it down. I gotta look at the card. I can't say the word. Kybrakara. I know that's wrong. I just watched the video too in preparation. I still can't say it. Karabra. The thing where you worked talking to gentlemen who paid you and bought you drinks. That. It was actually kind of funny for me, because we would call that in America or the West. We have establishments kind of like that, but we don't stop at talking most of the time, and they're also illegal. But it's very interesting to look at like the Western mentality versus the Eastern mentality on this, because your job, like you said, you talk to these gentlemen, and they had a little party while you were there, and you entertained him and his friends. They bought drinks for you. You just had a good little time, and then everybody went home to sleep in their own beds. Which, as Westerners, we're probably thinking, well, that's kind of a jip. You know what I mean? Like, you shell out all this money just to talk to a girl. What's up with that? But it all goes back to the independence versus the interdependence thing. In interdependent societies such as Japan, you have instances where the individual is always second class to the community. So the thing that they crave, people in those societies, is to be an individual at some point, to have that person to talk to, just to unload on, because that's not a normal thing in Japan. And again, I'm not like saying that this is the way it is. This is kind of more of a question. This is how I take it. So it's just kind of, if I'm wrong, please feel free to clear me up. This is a learning process for me. But in the West, of course, we talk about ourselves all the time to anybody who will listen, right? So we don't need to go to an establishment to partake in those activities. You know, we go there for other reasons, massage parlors, cat houses, you get it, I'm sure. But yeah, you know, I just want to really commend you on your videos, your channel, your entire channel's fabulous. You know, I really hope I get to Japan. I've done a lot of research on it, stuff like that. Not so much a lot of research on Japan, like the history of it. You know, I really adore Shinto. I study religions as kind of a hobby. You know, I'd really love to see some Shinto shrines and you know, just kind of the interactions between you know, America and Japan. You know, post World War II, all that good kind of stuff. The changes in Japan's government from, you know, post World War II. Probably the most interesting thing about that is just, you know, just the emperor at the time during World War II. He was the Americans. I've heard this story. I'm not sure if it's true. Maybe you'll find this interesting, or maybe you can like substantiate it. Um, but I've heard that the Americans in our treaty with Japan that we offered after we bombed them, all that kind of stuff, like the agreement for the you know, in return for the surrender. One of the agreements was that the emperor could no longer claim to be a kami, which I'm sure you know is a spirit or a ancestral spirit, because at the time the emperor was claiming to be a kami and a manifestation of, you know, the great spirits of the Shinto religion. And that's one of the reasons why, other than interdependence, that, you know, Japanese men were fighting so hard. You know, they were such a versatile, you know, a force to be reckoned with during World War II, and why such, you know, Japanese soldiers would fly into you know, kamikaze style into enemy troops and stuff like that. I'm not saying that Japan, all Japanese people are wanting to kill themselves and others, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's all about, you know, it's a very tight-knit society, and especially back then when your emperor is saying, I am a kami, you know, I am your gods, basically. Why they were willing to do absolutely everything they could to protect the emperor and the homeland. So, but yeah, the America actually, you know, the Allies, I suppose, actually required that the emperor publicly state that he is not a kami, because that it just scared Western society so much in Western culture. We didn't understand that at all, you know. So I've always found that very interesting, you know, and I hope that doesn't sound like I think the Japanese are evil, you know, kind of on the contrary. I believe that they, you know, throughout their history, they've been bound together by this sense of interdependence, you know, and reliance on one another. And it's why, you know, there's so many things about Japanese culture that are just awesome, you know. And you mentioned a lot of them in your videos. And anybody watching this should definitely watch your videos if you have any interest in Japan at all. And final note, the Chikon video was hilarious. I love the pear or the apple or the whatever you had, and how it was like a play-by-play about how this dude grabbed your ass, and like it was the funniest thing. Like, I was laughing out loud the entire time. I'm really sorry you got groped. Like, that's not at all what I mean. I just, that's bad. But it was a very funny video. So yeah, keep doing what you do, and just like hit me up whenever you have anything to say, because I enjoy listening to you, and keep the Japanese stuff coming. All right, thank you.